Okay, we are back with more Morpho Anatomy for Artists Simplified Forms. We're starting on page 70, so let's jump right in. The brachioradialis is a flexor muscle in the forearm and is shown here taking the most direct path in this flex position. So this is your brachioradialis. Notice how it starts up here, wraps all the way down to your thumb. Even if you turn your wrist over, it still goes all the way to your thumb. Here's like a pretty big version of that, like just how much room it takes up. Here's another one. So let's get some of these guys drawn in. Lately, I've just been, I feel like the easiest way to kind of get all this kind of done, just all this information kind of jammed in here, just do your construction lines like this, and then just, you know, kind of basically do the same thing here, just like kind of construct everything out. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway from this book. Always be constructing things before we just start jumping in and just drawing. So I'm going to start with this guy in the middle. I was kind of struggling with this yesterday on a drawing that had just connecting this pec muscle to the deltoid. And as you can see, when we get down here to the bicep, we've got this nice little kind of like this muscle right here kind of comes down and like separates it out. But again, right, this is like a lot of information to be taking in. So finding a way to like simplify this is kind of like key for me personally. Kind of more leaning towards this drawing here. Where things seem to just be way more easier to kind of chop up. See how we just kind of basically sectioned this off. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1. So pretty interesting. Basically you can kind of just chop this thing up to however you want. But it seems like you can't go wrong with just chopping up this arm into like a couple different sections, like 3. 3 seems to be kind of like the magic number here. Then we've got this kind of like ball that comes out. Let's get this another little arm, just why not? Let's find that middle. I mean, it seems to be like there's so many different ways to just draw the deltoid as far as shape-wise goes. And I just broke my main rule of not just drawing, but it's okay. Lately in my studio, I've just been following the muse. Like there's days where I'm like, okay, I want to do some, I need to work on nosebleed, but I'll sit there and try to work on nosebleed pages. And just nothing is coming out. Like it's just really bad. So instead of getting frustrated with that, I've just been like, okay, I have also commissions to get done, so let's bang out a commission then. So then I'll jump over to the commissions and get something going over there. And then if I get hung up on that, like maybe something's just really not coming together over there, then I'll just jump back to nosebleed and then kind of just ping-ponging back and forth until something happens, instead of just being like, oh, luckily I'm not one of those people that's just like, I'm not inspired. I'm not one of those people. Let's get these guys drawn. But I do feel like it is pretty easy to sometimes just like succumb to, like, oh, I guess it's just not gonna happen today. It's like, no, just do something else. Like I got a crap ton of work, that's all kind of dependent on me getting it done, so no time to sit there and feel sorry for yourself, unfortunately, right now. Maybe later we can feel sorry for ourselves. this is just the arm drawn at every single angle. Good lord. A good lord, that's a lot of arms. Just remember, like, you're not, this is like the hard thing about practice, right? Like, you're not really, I don't know if the purpose is, like, to me, the purpose is just getting this information solidified in my brain. Right. If you get a nice drawing out of that, great. But I'm kind of more so just like, as long as it looks, you know, in proportion. I'm not like, the purpose isn't to sit here and try to draw exactly like what I'm seeing in the book. But maybe that's wrong. I don't, you know, I just feel like the information is more important than anything. Like, if I can walk away from these study sessions and then I go into like doing a nosebleed page and I'm like, okay, like the, you know, brachioradialis is here and clavicle is here and, you know, deltoid is stretched about this far. Then I feel like I'm like, all right, okay, cool, we learned something. So maybe try to keep that as like the thing that kind of keeps you going. Or like the barometer for like success, I guess. All right. Rather than being like, this drawing looks exactly like, yeah, such and such. Probably gonna write a note though that there is always this like bump down here that I kind of forget about when I'm drawing arms. There's this like nice little bone bump down here. Okay, so now we've got this arm is kind of twisting this way, so but as you can see, even with that twist, you know, the same rules kind of apply. Like this, it seems like this brachioradialis is really just like the star of the show. So I'm going to write that break is the star of the show. Meaning it's like always there, you know? I'll try to write that. I'll try to summarize that. But also, yeah, also make sure you're like kind of writing notes. Even if you don't see me writing notes, like write notes for yourself, because I heard a very funny joke the other day. It's like, you can tell me whatever you want, whatever you're gonna say, but I've got some Bon Jovi lyrics up here in this head of mine, so probably not gonna remember it, you know? So same thing goes for your brain, you know what I mean? Like, you're taking in information, but you are definitely not gonna be retaining half of this crap. Which is why it's like, it's good to just immediately, like once you're done studying, especially if you're trying to make it like a daily thing, you need to like right away just jump into either a personal project or something that you're going to be using that information from. Like for me, like I got to draw like all my commissions all have people in them. My comic book has people in them, so that's the main reason why you see me studying, running through this book, right? Like if I was drawing mechs, like if I was drawing a comic with mechs in it, then my daily practice would be way different. But also, like, I'm gonna say a lot of contradicting things here, because I'm not. Try not to. You don't have to study every day, because it eats up time too. Like this is an hour, and we're luckily able to. I'm at a place right now where I'm able to be able to set aside the time for an hour. Usually what I really want to get to is like Eric Canetti was doing this cool thing for a really long time where he would just set a timer for 90 minutes and just draw something. And usually it ended up being like fan art and stuff, but just like it was so cool. I mean, he was just it's so cool that he was able to do that in 90 minutes. Just draw like a Mazinger Z or draw a cool Captain America. I've tried that as my warm-up a couple times, and man, I gotta tell you, that crap is hard. But that's where I really want to get to. That's kind of like the next frontier. It's just every day, kind of doing like even like what Chris Samnee does, where he just draws, just like this tiny drawing every single day before, is basically like his warm up. And they're gorgeous. You're just like, what the frick, man? You're doing that every single day? So that would be awesome. I feel like that would be a great confidence booster. Just be like, all right, I got something cool done today. Scotty Young was doing it too, and Scotty Young, what I really appreciate about his is like, a lot of them are very sketchy. They're real. Like Eric Canetti's is just like. Eric Canetti's are like, there's no, like, you look at them, you're like, are you lying, dude? Are you lying? There's no way, dude, you can whip this out in 90 minutes. But it's also Eric Canetti. Eric Canetti is one of the greats. Just one of the greats. But what I like about Scotty Young kind of did the same thing for a really long time too. His are a little bit more sketchier, you know, like they're a little bit less polished. Way less polished than Eric Canetti's. So it's kind of like, all right, well that seems achievable. Well, not knocking Scotty Young or anything, but it's just like, okay, that seems way more achievable than what Eric Canetti is doing. If you're ever bored, go look up, like, I don't know where you find them, because I think his blog, I think he took down his blog. They might be like on like DeviantArt or Pinterest has them. But pretty much anything you see that's like looks like it's drawn on paper is probably like a daily drawing by him. And they're oof, if I had money like that, man, I would. There's this Mazinger Z piece he did that, for my own, I'd buy that. Alright. For my own. Oh boy, the dreaded hands. Alright, so figure 1. Palm of the hand. Simplified diagram of the placement of the fleshy masses. So, fleshy masses. Notice that they're basically placed on top of a square or cube. Let's see, figure 2, which is way over here. This is the detached thumb to be repositioned against the flat of the hand. So, right in here. Figure 3, which is right here, is a series of ellipses indicating the beginning of the phalanges. So once you make your square, you then want to separate it into 4 equal parts for your fingers. Oh, crap. Oh boy, the dreaded hand. Alright, let's see what we can do. I'm gonna just start. Like that. This should give me enough room. Let's see. And again, right, remember that when you're doing that construction, for this, like, you know, lower wrist area, it's square, and so is your hand. That, and let's see if we can fit this in here just like that. It's like a square cube that has the ability to also kind of it's got a convex curve to it, which is crazy. That's why people hate drawing the hands, because they are very complex. Like, even in this simplified form right here, right? That's easy to draw this big, but once you start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking down, like you're working on comics and stuff, man, oof, crap gets very tough to do. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna get that in. But again, right, like it's just like what I like that this thing is like reminding me of is that there are volumes. There's always like an X, Y, and Z to basically everything that you're drawing. Like you're always seeing multiple sides of something. So the more that you can kind of get used to that. Oh yeah, wait. 2, 3, 4. So it's like the more you can kind of get used to that, and then drawing things overlapping, kind of like what we're about to do here. I guess that's just kind of like the battle that you just have to kind of get used to. It's just like, all right, like you're always going to be seeing some weird side of whatever you're drawing, man. Cool. Cylinders. It's a cylinder city, basically. Notice too, got our brachial radialis. Where's it headed towards? The thumb. Your brachial radialis always goes towards your thumb. Ooh, gotta stretch the hand. Okay, let's get down to a more, this hand is pretty hardcore right here. So, according to this drawing, it looks like once you kind of once you put down this fatty part of the thumb, it looks like you're attaching the bony part like on top of that. Man, also in the background, I am listening to Flying Lotus's, oh my god, what's it called? Yasuke, right? Yeah. Yasuke, the Yasuke soundtrack by Flying Lotus. I don't know how he did not win any awards or anything for that. This soundtrack is one of the greatest things I've ever listened to. Like, piece of music of all time. I really need to stop messing around and just go buy it on vinyl. But I don't really use my vinyl player that much these days. Okay, so I'm just gonna write, sorry, bone on top of fat. Okay, let's go down here to this hand. So, and I guess the same thing applies here, man. Like once you kind of do this construction, like look at what's happening here, right? You're placing the fattiness like on top of that. got your phalange holes. And what I'm going to do first is just kind of do that, right? Your pinky's the smallest, so let's just write that. Even though we already know this, just your middle finger, right, is like your longest. And then this one and this one, same size. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with what I see first, which is this guy. Beautiful freaking soundtrack. Oh my god. And honestly, pretty good anime. I did not like all the robots showing up for some odd reason. I feel like that really was a detriment to that show. That show would have otherwise been perfect if they had taken out all of the fantastical elements. Which to me, I'm just like, I guess they must have thought it was going to be boring. Or, you know, LaShawn and them were trying to just make something that had never been made before. So I'm going to draw this guy. I think I can fit it right here. But, you know, like talking bears and mechs and just shit that just did not make any just didn't make any sense at all. But it was like, it was kind of touted as being like an anime about the first black samurai. So you're like, oh yeah, let's go. About to learn some history through an anime lens with sword fighting. Like, I'm in. And then you start watching, you're like, okay, this is sick. This is way better than Cannon Busters. You know, I'm not gonna trash a man, but I didn't love that show. I also have never made an anime, so again, I'm not gonna trash the man. I have no idea how hard it is to make an anime. I can only imagine that it is very tough to do. Cool. Okay, we're gonna get this little guy in here. But yeah, I need to revisit Yasuke. I've only watched it once, and I remember I really liked it. You know, sans the mechs and everything. I was just like, yeah, man, just, you know, another show. Use mechs. I'm not here to hate on mechs. I love mechs. Y'all know this. If you ever come to my house, you're like, dang, dude. Whole lot of mechs up in this piece. And I'm like, yeah, bro. I be in here building Gundams, bro. I've been building Gundams since I was 12 years old. First Gundam I ever built, Master Grade Zaku. Changed my life. I remember sitting there just being like, this is crazy. I just built a giant friggin' robot. It kind of ruined like Gundams for me because I was just like, well, I'm only building master grades. There you go. but now I'm much more into like the little tiny guys because I ain't got that much room in my apartment for all these dang old robots. All right, we're on page 73. I'm gonna kind of keep it focused on the hand, I guess, because there's a lot going on here that I feel like is more important than this stuff. So don't judge me. But some quick notes here. Like, you see how we're approaching this thumb as basically just like a bunch of forms on top of each other, right? There's a lot of overlap here happening. Right. Cool. Right. I really need to slow down. Man, I get like, I guess that's me getting in like the flow state is when I start really like speeding up like that, but it's so bad for my hand to do those like the slice kind of things. This is the problem I always struggle with, is giving yourself enough room for all these fingers once you've kind of laid down this construction box for like your hand. So oftentimes I end up having to kind of improvise the hands. But the cool thing about the hands, and this takes a lot of practice, is that it's literally just a repeating, like you're just making this same thing over and over again. It takes a, so, you know, it takes a really long time. Woo! Sorry, my hand is cramping up today. What the hell is going on? Woo! Cramp City today, folks. I think I need to go get a banana. But yeah, when you're learning hands, just try to remember that it's really just the same thing, basically like repeating itself when you get to the fingers anyway. Fingers seem tough. They're just cylinders stacked on top of each other. So if you get good at drawing cylinders, you'll be good at drawing fingers. 2, 3, 4. But if it helps, try to like draw through. Like so. See how that's just 3 cylinders stacked on top of each other? If you really want, you can even just go ahead and just knock out like each set. Like that. And come back to the next set. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and just erase this little guy. And then you've got one more set after that. Right, so this is right here. Like that. Then you can kind of go back. Throw some skin over top of them bad boys. Cool. Now for the thumb is a little bit trickier. Cool. Get a few more hands in here. And then unfortunately I have to split. So this video is going to be a little two-parter. Because hands are pretty crazy. But see, right? Like once you kind of have this down, you can really just kind of construct it like that, right? And then kind of come up here. I'm drawing some very drumka drumblush hands. All right. So, not too shabby. But just like the construction of that thumb one more time, it's like oval. You can do like a little circle for the joint. You got a cylinder here. You could say there's like another little circle right there. And then we've got the finger. Just like that. Cool. Let's see what we got to tackle tomorrow. So more hand practice, basically. I actually have to go. Well, actually, let me see. I might not have to go just yet. I think my appointment's at 11 or it's at 10:45. Let me see. Let's see what we got for today. Today. Oh, shiza. Yeah, I gotta go. Alright. I'll see you guys later.